Today we're doing Module 4.9, Module 4, Lesson 9, and your learning goal today is to be able to find a fraction of a measurement in order to solve word problems, okay? Now, before we talk about the problem of the day, I want to remind you once again that we talked today about how to simplify those factors, okay? And basically what we're doing is we're writing the prime factors of all of those numbers, such as 30 over here, or 18 and 12 here, and then we're crossing out or canceling out similar factors in the numerator and the denominator. Okay, if you had trouble with your homework last night, this is a good strategy for you to use. Okay, so for today's math learning goal, we are finding a fraction of a measurement. And we're going to do that using two different ways, using tape diagrams and using unit conversions. Okay, so over here, do we have a fraction of a measurement? Yeah. What's the fraction? 1/4. And what's the measurement we're finding it? Of a pound. We're trying to find out what's 1/4 of a pound. And we're trying to convert that, see how many ounces are in 1/4 of a pound. So in order to do that, what we need to know is 1 pound is how many ounces, Ben?
12.
Nope. 16. Good. You still need to learn from your fabulous fail, right? Okay. Ben is our resident ounces to pounds expert. Okay. So Ben, how many ounces are there in a pound? 16. Thank you. So let's go ahead and draw a tape diagram. And our whole piece of tape is going to be 1 pound. So at the top, label it 1 pound. But then also write equals 16 ounces because we know that 1 pound is 16 ounces, right? And then because we're trying to find 1/4, we're going to divide that into how many units? 4 units. And we're going to show that we're trying to find how much 1 unit is. Okay? So then, of course, with every tape diagram, we need to write the units, the units, as part of the tape diagram. So here we have 4 units equals what? 16 ounces, yeah. Could we also write that 4 units equals 1 pound?
Yeah.
But will that help us? Because we're trying to find ounces. No. So we should write 4 units equals 16 ounces. So therefore, 1 unit equals 16 divided by 4, which is 4 ounces. Okay? So we can see that 1/4 of a pound equals 4 ounces using a tape diagram. Now let's see how we can use unit conversions. Okay? So this blue part over here. This will remind you back to what we did in Module 2. Okay? When we do the multiplication, we always write it in this format. So go ahead and write it down. 1/4 of a pound, which is what we started out with over here, equals 1/4 times 1 pound, right? But then we know that that's the same thing as 1/4 times 16 ounces because 1 pound is the same as 16 ounces. Oh, when we have a fraction times a whole number, we know that we can put the numerator 1 times 16 over the denominator of 4. Do you guys see how we're combining what we did yesterday? Now, are there any common factors here? 16 and 4 are both divisible by 4. So I can change the 4 into a 1, and I can change the 16 into a 4. So now I have 1 times 4 over 1 ounces, which is 4 ounces. Did we get the same answer using unit conversions and using the tape diagram? Very good. You need to know how to use both ways. Okay, so go ahead and make sure you wrote down this model for both ways. This time we have to find out 3/4 of a foot is how many inches. Okay, so what conversion do we have to think in our head? We need to know that 1 foot is equal to how many inches? Everyone? 12 inches. Good. Okay, so that's what we need to think in our head. Let's do the tape diagram method first, because we need to know how to do both, but we'll focus on tape diagram first. So I'm going to draw a piece of tape, and that entire piece of tape I'm going to label it as 1 foot, which as I know is 12 inches, right? And then I need to divide that 12 inches into how many equal units? 4, because my denominator is 4. And then I'm going to also label how many of those units am I trying to find? 3. So I'm going to mark off 3 of them and put a little question mark. Okay, now I need to write the units. So how many units do I have altogether? 4. So 4 units equals what? 12 inches. Good. And then, therefore, 1 unit must be 12 divided by 4, which is 3 inches. Good. But that's not my final answer because I'm trying to find how many are in 3 units. So I do 3 units is going to equal 3 times 3, which is 9 inches. Okay, so using my tape diagram, I found that 3/4 of a foot is 9 inches. So for unit conversions, we're going to write what we have, which is 3/4 of a foot is going to equal to 3/4 times 1 foot, right? Do you guys agree? Okay. That's going to be equal to 3/4 times how many inches? 12 inches. Okay. Now that we have 3/4 times 12, can we combine it into the numerator? What do I have in my numerator? 3 times 12. And then my denominator would be 4. This gives me an opportunity to look for any common factors. Do we see any common factors in the numerator and denominator? Yeah, 12 and 4 are both divisible by what number? 4. Okay, what's 12 divided by 4? 3. And what's 4 divided by 4? 1. So my new problem then is 3 times 3 over 1, which is 9 inches. Did we get the same answer both ways? Nice. So it says Mr. Corsetti spends 2/3 of each year in Florida. He doesn't spend the whole year, but he spends 2/3 of the year in Florida. How many months does he spend in Florida each year? Okay, so the question's asking us to figure out how many months Mr. Corsetti spends in Florida each year. And we need to know that he spends 2/3 of the year in Florida. Okay, so let's draw a tape diagram. The entire tape diagram would be 1 year, but that equals how many months? 12 months. Good. MO is the abbreviation for months. Now we're going to split that into how many equal units? 3, because the fraction we're dealing with is 2/3. And then we want to find out how many are in 2/3, so we're going to mark off 2 of those units and put a question mark. Okay? Now, altogether we have 3 units, so we're going to write 3 units equals what? 12. Good. So then therefore 1 unit is going to be 12 divided by 3, which is 4. But then we're trying to find out what's in 2 units. So we're going to write 2 units equals 4 times 2, which is 8. And then what's our label? 8 months. Good. So we found out using a tape diagram that Mr. Corsetti spends 8 months of the year in Florida. Now let's find out if we can get the same answer using unit conversions. Okay? So we're trying to find 2/3 of a year is equal to 2/3 times how many years? 1 year. Good. Which is equal to 2/3 times how many months? 12 months. Good. Okay, see what I did there? 1 year is the same as 12 months. So did I even change the value of that problem at all? No, right? I'm just subbing out one label for its equivalent in another label. Okay, now I have 2/3 times 12. So how could I write that just with one numerator and one denominator? What would my numerator be, everyone? 2 times 12. Good. And what would my denominator be, everyone, not just Tara?
3.
Good. Are there any common factors here?
Yes.
What common factors do you see? Itai? How come I can cross out 12 and write 4 and cross out 3 and write 1? It's because 12 and 3 are both multiples of what number, Itai? 3. And so when I did 12 divided by 3, I got 4. And when I did 3 divided by 3, I got 1. Very good. So what I'm left with is 2 times 4 in the numerator and a 1 in the denominator. So what's 2 times 4? 8 over 1, which is 8 months. Okay, so did we get the same answer both ways? So can we say, yes, I'm probably right, I'm probably the best? Yeah, good.